Alright, so I have decided to make a couple of changes on our scene. First of all, I have deleted the spline that the spline wrap was wrapping on. That's the spline wrap. That's the spline we created earlier. So I'm going to, instead of that one, I'm going to use the helix. So with the helix right in place, I'm going to change the plane to XZ, and I'm going to scale it up a bit more. Scale it up just a bit, something like that. And then next I'm going to go in my spline wrap and say, okay, spline wrap on that helix, and then I'm going to activate my cloner and see what is happening. So we have something, you know, happening there. So you notice that the current state of the helix, so to say, it's kind of upside down. So what we're going to do, maybe I'll just scale it up even more, do something like that, something like that there. So what I'm going to do is to scale it up. So I'm going to go not scale it up, sorry. What we're going to do is to flip it. So what I'm going is to go in the coordinates and change that to 180. So we have our helix, we have our railway now in the actual position that we want it to be. So we have something like that. Cool. The next thing is to go in the helix properties and maybe change the start angle to minus 30 for it to even go further. And then I'm going to change the camera position, maybe even zoom in more to something like that to have a closer shot of our scene, and then I'll move it there, then closer shot, something like that, and move it there. I think that's going to be a nice shot. So I will still grab my helix and maybe scale it down a bit to something like that. Okay, next I am going to go in my cloner and in the railroad. What I want to do is that, alright, let me first of all remove the spline from the group. I want to show you what is happening. Remove the spline from the group and take the cloner, deactivate the cloner. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you what is happening here. We sort of have this let me go in the front view, in the top view, sorry. Let me go my railway, come there. When you take a look at the railway itself, maybe go ahead in the perspective view there. Yeah, when we take a look at this, it's somehow incomplete. We just have this and it's not a complete set, so to say. So what we need to do is to duplicate that and put it back in there. I'm going to duplicate the extrude nerves, extrude it, duplicate it, sorry, and then move it in the top view, that is. By the way, the axis is way far from the actual object, so I'm going to go we go with the axis modification tool, and then put it there, and then disable it, and then I'll move the extrude nerves to that point, to there, and zoom in it just a bit to that point. So we have our complete. We now have a complete sort of state of our railway, so that when we clone it, it is closed. Yeah, fine. Right. So when we reactivate our cloner, we have something there, and maybe just come back to the. You'll notice that when it's joining here, it's kind of doubled. So when we come back to the top view, and then we go to the cloner. Excuse me, and then we go to the cloner, and when we check here, this is the part that is showing that it's doubled. So what we do, how to fix that, is to go ahead and reduce the Z position. Maybe not reduce, let's try to increase it. Okay, that's something. Let me reduce the count so that I'm working on something small. 2, 3, and then come here. Yeah, then we have a better picture. And now let's start to reduce that. Reduce it until it's flush with that one. I think that. And then we can put it back maybe to 35, and go to the perspective view. Now we have our smart railway, and you can drop back the spline wrap inside there now, and so it's wrapping perfectly. So that is it. We have our thing all perfect. And in the next thing to do is that, as you can see, our railway, it's not all that smooth, right? It has these edges that I don't like. So how to fix that? How do we fix that? First of all, we go in the cylinders, and in the cylinders property we change that to, say, 10. That's the height segment. Now, for you to understand the height segment, I am going to sort of go backward. That is to drop that outward, and cloner, deactivate the cloner, select my railway, my railroad, and so to say, and I'll grab my I'll go in the editor's camera, and then I want to show you what is happening here. Okay, so these ones, let's change it back to 1, the way it was. Okay, fine. So when we say we are increasing our height segments, this is what is being increased. That it is these cuts right here. So if you have more cuts, if you have more segments here, that means when you're trying to bend this cylinder, it bends a bit smoother. So the more the segments, the height segments that you have, the smoother the bending of the cylinder. So I hope you get that. Okay, we come back here, put the spline wrap in place, come back there, and then we said we were going to increase that to 10, which is quite a reasonable number. So we have it at 10, which is quite fine with me. And I don't know why it keeps on jumping, but okay, fine. I'm now going to increase the helix to something like that, Alright, I think it keeps on jumping because my computer, I don't know, because after some time it comes back to its original place, and then you see it back jumping again. I don't know. I hope you understand what I'm saying. The actual railway here, it's not in place with the spline itself, but then at some time you found out that it's back in action. It's back in the spline, in the actual spline. So that's really annoying me right now. I don't know, it's really annoying me. Okay, fine, let me just continue with the tutorial. That shouldn't be something that makes me have this terrible headache. Anyway, the next thing is to go ahead and maybe just I'll just go ahead and zoom out a bit, and what we're going to do is that we are going now to add some we're going to add some pipes, or some power pipes, some power pipes, and so to say. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, spline back in place. Okay, fine, that's all right. I hope it doesn't do that again, because it is really annoying me when it jumps. Okay, fine. You know, I decrease this in number. Alright, fine, cool. Think we have a thing coming out here. Now let's just go and create those power pipes I was talking about. So when I'm creating these power pipes, I'm just going to create one, and then afterwards you are going to create the other ones on your own, or I am going to create them but without recording them on how I'm doing it. I'll just show you the final result, because if I'm to show you everything here, my computer is going to crash. Alright, so the next thing is to come back in the you see what I'm talking about? It's jumped again. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is to go ahead in the right view, in the front view, sorry. So what I'm going to start by is the sorry, wow, that sounded sorry guys. So I'm going to click there and then click there, something like that, just a simple shape, so we can adjust the how it flows. We can adjust that, something like that, and then maybe come to the top view, and in the top view you decide to put that point to something like that. Maybe it'll just be that's not where the camera is going to be at, so grab the object, it keeps on popping there. Alright, fine, grab the object and put it there, maybe to someplace there, and you go on and say fine, you go in the point mode, and then you select the point, and then you drag it to there, and then you can continue to say moving the actual bending of the spline, just to align it. I think I'm not going to be talking more on this, I'm just going to be doing, and you watch and see. Okay, front view is this right here, perspective view. Okay, perspective view there, that's what I was talking about. It has jumped, so let me just scale it up. Okay, let me just scale it up. You know, I'm not liking what is happening here. I don't know, maybe I have to pause the tutorial for some time and then come back when the computer is finished processing the path upon which this clone is going to pass in, because I think right now it's still rendering and all that. I'll just put it back to 30. I don't know, render instances or what. I don't know, dude, this thing is annoying. Okay, now it's okay, now that shouldn't jump. I can see now it's flowing according to the spline itself. Okay, up next is to go and fix that spline, and I think what I'm going to do is to go ahead in the front view. You know, it made me move the points. Okay, fine, I'll put the first one, I'll put this one to be here, and I'll put these two to be right here, and maybe align it to something like that. Yeah, I think align it to something like that, then I go to the front view, to the top view, and then just put it there. And then just put it there, and then just drag it up like that, and I think we're cool. And let's see what is happening. I think that is just there fairly enough, and I'll just put it up something like that, maybe just align it to there, and then just there, put it up. So you can see with this process, somebody having a slow computer, it's really annoying. So what I'm going to do is to put that to 5, the radius to 5. That's the radius of the circle. Then you drop in a sweep nerves, and then you select both of those and drop them in the sweep nerves. So watch out, watch what happens. We have our thing created there, something like that. So when you come back here, it's just a matter of adjusting the points, making sure that they're touching the actual railway. Wow. Hey, and we have jammed. Okay, right, fine. Okay, all right, you have an idea of what is happening. At least make sure that these pipes right here are touching the actual railway here, not just being suspended on something like that, actually touching it. And in this case, they are touching. All right, so there we have it. I've created my those lines. They are so far just 3. I'm not going to go into detail on like doing all that. Next I'm going to do some texturing. So first of all, we're going to go to our presets, visualize, then materials, and then I'm going to go ahead with the glass. I'll select that glass, come here. Next we'll go with the liquid, select that liquid, come here. Then I'm going to go ahead in the metal, and I will select this metal here to come here, and the other metal will be this one. Okay, yeah, and the other metal will be this one. I think let's drop it in here. Okay, next we are going to start applying the materials to our scene. So first of all, I'm going to need to color the water to be actually blue liquid. So I think here I have it like a 0 and 144, that type of blue. Then let's go ahead with the transparency, the same 0, 144. Reflection, shoes 0, 144. Alright, so there we have it. Then I'm going to go in my glass, and the same goes for my glass reflection. Why do I keep on doing that? 0, 144. Transparency 0, 144. And color to be 0, 144, 255. Cool. That's the color. Is it still processing? Wow. Okay, so I'm going to apply that to my liquid. Apply that to my liquid, and I'll will apply the glass to my glass material, so everything that has glass on it. So I'm just going to apply that and that and that. On my carbon, I'm going to apply this material, so I'm going to apply it on that, and that. Alright, so I'm going to select all my carbon textures and go ahead in the projection and change that to be cubic, and I will go as well in the on my okay, fine. Next I will add some textures to this metal right here. so I'll give that some sort of metal like issue. So all the extrude NURBS, just going to add that texture and then add it, sorry, and then add that one to that one there. Okay, so we have our metal sort of like there, and on our pipes I was thinking of maybe let's try to check out some other. Okay, I'm going to use this one. I am just going to use this one. I sort of like it, and I'm going to apply that on our cylinders. As a matter of fact, all of my cylinders. Okay, being applied, and I'm going to select all my cylinders and check the mapping to cylindrical. Wow. Maybe change it back to cubic, and maybe just to UV mapping. That'll be okay. Just to the default UV map. And then let me just try to maybe increase the tile to 2 by 2. And okay, that's way too much. One. Is that okay? Maybe that's not the right material. Let me come up with something. Alright, on that one, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come up with some plastic. Do you have any plastic here? And no, we don't have. Alright, just the basic metal. I think so. Okay, let's not sweat too much here. I'm just going to apply. I'm just going to delete those. Sorry, it's about to rain here, so that's why you have this thunder and all that. The thunder. So put it there, and then change the mapping to something like cubic. Let's see what happens. I think that's not good. Cylindrical. Maybe just UV map, it's okay. And I'm going to as well change that to 2 by 2 to be a bit smaller. And next I'm going to go in my carbon, and I'll highlight those as well and change that to be that, but then this will be maybe a 1.5 by 1.5. Okay, and maybe just make it into a 2 by 2, and I'm thinking maybe this is not right. Maybe I just have to apply some sort of whatever material to my pipes there, because they can. I don't want to repeat the very same texture more than once. So I'll delete that and maybe apply that to that, that to that, and that to that. All right, I think that is better. And the next move is to light up the scene. Sorry guys, but it's going to rain, so you're going to hear some noises. The next thing is to go ahead. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is to add some light to our scene. So I will use the Grayscale Gorilla Light Kit, which of course there are other alternatives you can use besides from there, but I would prefer to use that one because it's the fastest way to lightening up your scene, and it makes your work to look professional and all that. So we're going to use the light kit, And in the light kit, I'm going to use the overhead light, and I'm going to use the softbox. Okay, I'll use the softbox, 2 softboxes, and add another one. Alright, so we have the overhead, softbox, and softbox. Alright, so by the way, you can download the Grayscale Gorilla texture pack at his website, and you can also the links are also on the blog here on the right. You have got the light kit and the yeah, the light kit and all that. It's on the right side of the blog, so I think you can take a look at that. But it's handy and it's worth, you know, purchasing. So what we're going to do is right now I am going to sort of zoom out, maybe do something like that, and now my scene gets a bit heavy, so I'm going to select the overhead. With the overhead selected, what I want to do is to at least move it down a bit. I'll go to the front view, and then I'll select my my light, and then I'll move it down to something like that, and then I'll go to the perspective view, and then I will go ahead and position my one of my softboxes accordingly, softbox control. Then I will drag it on to this end right here to something like that, to somewhere there. Okay, to somewhere there, and maybe even move it along the x-axis to something like that. Okay, let me just move it with this to something like that, and then I'm going to select the other softbox as well, and then just position it to somewhere else there, to somewhere else there, to somewhere else here, and I will make it to be far from the scene, something like that. Then I'll go to my camera, and I will decrease the light intensity, the brightness, to something like maybe 90. The reason I'm doing that because I'm going to use global illumination for the final render, so we don't need all that much light, so that much, right? So I'm going to add some bluish color to our top softbox, something like that, and I'm going to sort of like go to my render settings, and then I will go to the effector, global illumination, come back here, sorry, go back and then change the GI mode to this mode, still image, that's the IRQMC, and then I will go ahead and reduce this to low, then come back here and maybe just try to do a test render and see how it is coming out. So I will pause it first and then come back after it is rendered. Alright, so this is what we have. I still think it's a bit bright, so I'm just going to kill some of those softbox brightness. For example, I'm going to kill this one out. Where is it? I think the one down, yeah, that's the one. So I'm just going to bring down the brightness to maybe something like 50, whatever, 50. And then next, what I'm going to do is to maybe just create something like the alright, so what I'm going to do next is that we are going now to go ahead and my view camera here, And now I just want to create something like a pipe that's just going to run. It's going to be lying on the ground. It's not going to be hanging on this. It's just going to be something like just lying, going somewhere else there. So I'll switch to the top view, and in the top view I will grab my my Bezier tool, and then I'm just going to draw something running from here like that, just some random shape, and then going down there, and I'm just going to drop that there, and maybe even make it something like that, and then just drop that one there, and then drop that one, sorry, this one to be somewhere else there, and then that one there, and the last one to be somewhere else there. Alright, so it's just going to be something like something basic. It's just running through there, just trying to keep it realistic, a bit realistic. Okay, so what we're going to do is to have that scene created, do something like that, and there. And then I'm going to switch to the object mode and go to my front view, and then I'm just going to align that to be just right on the plane there, to be sitting there. And before I do that, I'm just going to add a circle, and I'll give it the radius of 4. Maybe this one should be a bit big. Maybe something like 5, and I'm just going to drop in a sweep nerves and drop all of these 2 guys in that sweep nerves, so that when I drop my spline downside, it should be lying just on the plane. I want it to be lying on the plane, right there, to be touching the plane. And then that is what is going to happen. That's what I'm going to have. So I'm just going to grab my my spline, and then maybe that position, I'll just bring it to this, and then bring it further there, and this dude right here, maybe bring him a bit to somewhere else there, just increase that to something like that. Then maybe bring it here a bit. I want it to be showing that there's something running there, and then that point, bring it there, and there, and there. Just want to show that something is running through there, and then maybe grab the last point, or this point here, and maybe just move it there. I want it to be in the camera view. I want us to be, yeah, I think that's okay. They are both coming from this section here, and this dude, maybe just move it even further to something like that. Alright, so the next thing I noticed that it has jumped again. My my rail has jumped off the hook. So what I'm going to do, I know this is kind of funny, but this is how I'm fixing it. I sort of tend to delete that, and then maybe re-add the material on that. So maybe when I did it the first time, it fixed it, and by the way, I'm just going to change the material to be just the same with the extrude knobs. So when I drag that, I notice that it jumps back in place. See, it jumps back in place. So I don't know, maybe if you guys have a solution on that, please help me on that. But otherwise, that's what is happening. So next is to reactivate my sweep nerves, and maybe try to increase the circle to something like, I need it to be thick, to be big, maybe 10 centimeters as the radius, then switch to the front view, then go ahead with my spline, and then just try to align that, and then go to the object mode and move the spline in place. All I want is the that is to be touching the ground, so that's where it is touching the ground. It is touching the ground now. Okay, so I'll switch back to my camera view. I think we have something there. We have something cool. It has jumped back. Please guys, if there is a solution to this, or if I'm making a mistake, please just let me know on how I can be fixing this, instead of deleting the texture and then adding it back, and then it jumps back into the way I want it. You know, it doesn't look professional. It doesn't. The tutorial doesn't sound professional at all. All right. Okay. So we have our thing. Everything is in order. I think everything is in order right now. Maybe I'll just try to reduce the overhead light to something like to a 90, and I think from now we can go to our render settings and then increase the anti-aliasing to be the best, and then come to global illumination. I think all the settings are quite okay here. We don't need to go ahead and temper that at all. So I'll go into my save. I will save it on my desktop as the I will save it as the Reactor. So I'll just go desktop, and I'll save that to be the Reactor. And then I will save it as a TIFF with an 16-bit, and I think that's it. That is it. So the next step, we are going to render this out, and just add some color collection in Adobe Photoshop CS6. So right now I just go ahead and do the Shift R, start to render it in my picture viewer, and yeah, we'll see you in Photoshop. Alright, now our image has been we have finished rendering our image, and I came to realize that in our very last render I didn't I kind of jumped into not telling you how to make this this tube here smooth, or maybe to add a different texture to it. So I'll just show you how you can do that, and maybe you can render this at your own free time. So I'll just go to Cinema 4D, and I will open the I'll go back to the viewport, and it's taking time. So the basic thing was to come on to the sweep knobs, and then maybe just select all of them, just roll those down a bit, and then you just select all splines in all these sweep knobs, or the splines that we have, and then you can change them to something like uniform or what, uniform or natural. It's all up to you, but then make sure to increase the number to something like maybe 50 or above. That will smoothen out all the these will smoothen up the the pipes, and yep, I think that was what I wanted to tell you. So you can and the other thing was that I rendered this at a -1 frame, but if I was to go maybe to this frame right here, and then I did a render, I would have had at least some sort of movement in my water. You know, maybe you can go ahead and render it at frame 52 as a still image, so you can have some movement in your water. So yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to tell you. Maybe try to render it at different frames. If you have a much powerful computer, you can render it as an animation, maybe animate your camera around it and all that. Anyway, so let's go to cinema. Let's take a look at our final piece. That's the final rendered picture which is this one. So what we can do right now is just to import this to Photoshop CS6. So what I would do is to go to my desktop and then allocate the reactor and then just drag and drop it on my in my Photoshop, and then it has been imported, and I'll double click that layer and fine, and then I'm going to duplicate the layer by simply pressing the Alt J on your keyboard, and then I'm going to go with my selection tool, and with the first layer selected, I'm going to go and maybe add something like some blur, Gaussian blur, and then I'm going to put the Gaussian blur to something like 2, and then press OK, and we change that to overlay to sort of like create some shadows and for it to be a bit darker. So we have that, and maybe this time around I'll just decrease the opacity to something like that. Maybe do something like that, just a bit. Check that out. Okay, fine. Do something like that, 50 or something like. I'll go ahead 50. Try to zoom in a bit and to see the very actual view. So we have our thing here. So the difference is when you try to do that, it's light. Here it's a bit detailed. The next thing is to go ahead and maybe add an adjustment layer. So I will add the curves, the curves, and then on the curves I'll just make it a bit something like that, you know, and maybe just go ahead and decrease the green and see how, just a matter of tweaking it just to see how it is going to look like. Maybe if I go with the blue, increase the bluish a bit, something like that. Anyway, let me just delete that, zoom out a bit, then add some hue and saturation. Right now it's just a matter of playing around and seeing how you can go about this. So let me go with the bluish, this type of blue, something like that, and then maybe try to make it to something like this, just to fine tune it. There we go. Maybe something like that, and then try to as well go with the brightness and contrast, and try to increase the contrast to something like that, maybe even something like that, 15, brightness to put down the brightness to 0, and then I'll adjust the hue and saturation again to a certain color I liked. And then something like that, and maybe reduce the opacity of that one, reduce it to something like that. Okay, to something like 30, and the contrast and everything, leave it like that. Okay, so we have this created, just doing some color correction. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe just drop in another layer there and this time around I'm going to select the gradient to radio, and then maybe select some different gradients, maybe from that to something like do something like that, to something like this, and maybe make that to be bluish, that type of blue, then to be something like that, and this dude right here, that type of bluish, just to be something like that. Okay, cool. and then just drag that around to there. So we have that, and do maybe just reverse the colors. That's how I do it, like that. Okay. Remember, here we're just doing some tweaking and all that, and undo it. Maybe that color has to be a bit more brighter, something like that. Go there, and then we make that into being the soft light. Maybe even try overlay, and then change it down to something like that, to something like let's say 40, something like 40. And then on that one we have that created, and then on the final one what I'm going to do is to try and I'll use a certain plugin that's what alien something like, let's check it, alien skin. Yeah, I'm going to use alien skin for the final thing. So what we can do right now is just to highlight all those as well, and for my image right now I am just going to go ahead and group those, Ctrl J, sorry, I'm just going to group those, Ctrl G, and with my group selected, Ctrl J to duplicate it, and then hide this one. That's what I like to do. I always like to keep a backup of my previous work. So in this one I am going to go ahead and go with the Ctrl E, that's to merge it. Then I am going to go in the filter, alien skin, then exposure 4. I will include the links to the website where you can download these alien skin plugins and all that. But if you don't have the plugins, you know, no hassle. I think we're done and all that. But here I'm just trying to create something very, very nice, something like that. So alright, so next we are going to, so I ended up with the touch color process for faded and dust. That's the one I ended up with. So I am going to choose some colors here. That one, that's the one I ended up with. So I am going to sort of choose the color, maybe there, and then increase the intensity just to add some warmth to it. Let's see, yeah, maybe decrease it to something like that, I think that's okay, really. And then just press OK, and it applies to your final piece. But if you don't like it, if you don't like the way it's looking, you can simply hide that top layer after it has modified it. So that is it, that's the main thing it's going to look like. So I'm just going to add another adjustment layer, and maybe increase the brightness in this one, increase the brightness to just a bit, to something like that, and yeah, reduce the contrast, a bit to something like that. Yeah, I don't like it there, it's looking a bit dark and all that, but anyway, you get the idea. So that is the whole concept behind it. You can do something like that, and then you say, yeah, cool old Reactor, you put some text there. If you liked the actual copy the way it is right here, so you can save it out for your desktop background, and yep, you're good to go. Everything is proper, everything is okay. The other part is just a matter of tweaking and doing that. Okay, thanks for watching this tutorial, and if you have any comments, please drop them by and I'll be glad to help. Thanks guys.